What happens to your images if the world just went dark right now? If everything went offline, what's going to happen to your images? That's something that I think about all the time now. As I've gotten older, my kids have gotten older. Not only that, but just looking at some of the client work that I've done over the last 20 years, we are still, no matter how much we talk about prepping our houses, prepping our lives, if we were to go off grid, all these different things that we were talking about, but we never really discussed the creative images, videos, whatever that we've done over the years. We don't talk about those things. And so over the last year, probably 2 years now, I've really been thinking about what's my plan. What am I going to do with my images? And even more so than that, not just with what's happening in the world, but just with my own children. A lot of times we're so caught up in the day-to-day of running around and creating the work and working with these amazing clients. And, we're paid well for it. But at the same time, our children, they know what we do a lot of times, but do they really know what we do? So I'll tell you this, just to kind of share in a couple minutes my thoughts on what I want to do, and maybe you want to kind of adhere to the same thing or think about something close for your situation. For me, I love sharing images online, on Instagram, on Facebook, other platforms as well. But we have to get back to, and if you've seen some of my other videos, I've mentioned this before, we've got to get back to printing our own images, right? And printing and having physical copies of images. We're chasing algorithms, we're chasing comments and likes and different things like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, as creatives, as artists, is that really fulfilling us? Half the time when we post things, it's gone in a day, and then you're on to the next post to try to get some more engagement on your stuff, but it's gone. I will say that there is nothing quite like, honestly, guys, I always say I'm a photographer, which I am. My core business is photography, but I've been blessed to study in different disciplines as it relates to photography, video, audio. But as it relates to my images, I'll say this: there's nothing like holding a image or a print, rather, that you are really proud of. Maybe you've done some amazing work, you've worked with some great people, and now you're holding this image. It's nothing quite like holding that image, that printed photograph in your hand. And so I want to encourage everybody to try to get back to that, to get back to the point where, yeah, you'll still post online, you'll still share your images, because if you're in business, we can't get away from posting online, obviously. But do this for yourself, right? Do this for your family. Print your images, guys. Find a lab that you want to work with. If you're not already working with a lab, find a lab and explore the different products that they offer and get those things printed. Get them hung around your home. If you have an office, make sure you definitely get those up in your office. And the second part to that I want to share is, when it comes to your family, especially if you have children, one of the things that I'm focused on doing right now for my son and my daughter is I want to create, and even though my photography career is still going, I've been blessed to do some amazing work over the last 20 years. And so I want to create, and there'll be duplicates, but I want to create a photo book for each of them, right? Now this will probably be the same type of book. You can do an actual book, or it can be something as simple or elaborate as books that we use for wedding albums, right? But I want to create duplicates for my kids to just kind of showcase some of the work that I've done, or the main images that are like signature images for me, and even include some images of them in there with a little blurb or write-up about what that image means. Because if they were to come across your digital images when they get older, unless it's somebody really, really famous, they're not going to really know who that person is, why that photo is important. And so that's my plan, is to just kind of organize these things, download everything, kind of categorize it, because a lot of times we look at these photographers and artists that have these huge names that have passed away, and they're like legends in our industry. But guys, if you're a creative, you got to start looking at yourself as a legend in your own home and documenting these things, because like I tell people, you can't pass on your Facebook gallery or your Instagram gallery. You can't pass that on, but you can pass on printed work and books to your family, to your loved ones, so your work can live on. And I know that, not to sound cheesy or morbid or anything like that, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and there's a lot of work that we do as creatives that, like I said earlier, we're in the moment of creating. We're not really explaining that to people. Do people know how to get to your images? Do people know, do your kids know how to download your images? For most of us, no. There's no systematic way that we've explained to our families, hey, look, if something were to happen to me, this is how you get to my images and all that. And even if the stuff is on a hard drive, yeah, it's great. They could get it out, plug it up. Hopefully the hard drive works forever. They can go through your images on a computer or wherever. But the way technology is going, to me, prints is the only way to kind of shore up things to make sure that your work lives on. So I want to encourage you guys today to make sure that, especially I'm talking to my photographers, real quick, for video, make sure that you are maybe even going back to, you might have to just put it on a hard drive, because I know video's a lot different than photography, but make sure you are getting your stuff offline and physical, so that you can have something for yourself, not only as a backup, but something that, like I said, you can pass on in the video world. But for photographers, make sure you are printing your work. And I think there's a value add in that as well. When we start talking even to our clients about printed work, this whole video has been about how important it is for us, but we got to start adding value to our clients, because the moments are what matters with them. And, and what do we mean by moments? People getting married, children playing sports, those moments where you can't get those back, right? Especially when it comes to the kids. If you have kids, you look at them one day, hey, and then you look at them the next day and it's like, wow, you've grown some. It happens that fast. And so photography is like really the only way that we can freeze those things. So I just want to make sure that we're conscious of that we're adding value not only to ourselves, but to our clients. Make sure you guys print your work so that you can have a legacy that lives on forever. Talk to you guys later. Take care.